Hello everyone, my name is Wafi Hassan. I am a research engineer and today I'll be showing you how to deploy EMCO, the Edge-Multicluster orchestrator over a Kubernetes cluster. This is the project EMCO uh, on GitLab. Initially, what you want to do is just clone this project into your machine. So I have a newly created VM right here, and I'm going to clone my folder, the EMCO folder over here itself. And just for the sake of convenience, I'll make a new directory and clone it inside that directory. Now there are some basic requirements for us before we start deploying EMCO over our cluster. And if you go over to my GitHub page, you will find this EMCO development EMCO dev folder repository, which is basically a repository that gives you a start.md file which has all the commands uh, you need to know to deploy EMCO. And after you're done with the setup, uh, we will first need to create a Kubernetes cluster. And if you go over to my repository again, you'll find this kubeadm cluster repository, which basically provides you makes which basically provides you with the Kubernetes cluster. And after you run the script, it has all the installations uh, of the EMCO dependencies also. Now this script takes some time to run, but once it has been completely run from the initial to the final, at the end we will have a Kubernetes cluster, and our virtual machine will have all the dependencies that we require to run EMCO. At the same time, the documentation for the deployment of EMCO is also given, so you can navigate to docs, user, install, and tutorial helm.md. This is the deployment guide basically, and this tells you all the requirements, and then further there are the steps given here that you need to follow to deploy EMCO. So now the recording uh, the script has been successfully run, and now we have our Kubernetes cluster with us. So as you can see, we have our Kubernetes cluster, and now we can start deploying EMCO over it. One thing that you need to know is that this is a single cluster deployment, and there are no worker nodes per se, and that is why we need to just run this command before we start deploying. And this is because by default you cannot schedule any pods on the master node itself. So we need to run this command first. Once that is done, you can start deploying. So the first thing you need to do is we need to log in into a container registry, and I'll just create one for myself here. Now you're gonna set the EMCO docker repo variable. Now after you have set exported this variable, one thing you need to know is that you have this option to put your EMCO images inside the container registry, and we want to do this. It is given at the end right here, and this just tells you to do that. You just need to export this prior to running make deploy. So one of the subsequent steps after login inside the container registry is to run make deploy from the from the EMCO bin helm folder. And if you want to push your images to the container registry, you want to export that variable before that. This is exactly what we are going to be doing. So first we run make build base. This ideally takes a good 3 to 4 minutes depending on your connection. So now what we need to do is we need to pass this this variable. After that we can run make deploy, and we need to run these commands from the root EMCO folder itself to package our charts. This again takes a good 5 to 6 minutes. So after running this, we will have our helm chart tar packages inside the EMCO bin and bin helm folder. So now we have successfully run our two commands, make deploy and make build base. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna navigate inside the bin/helm folder, and here we will find our script EMCO base helm install.sh. So the interesting thing here is that we can provide it with multiple parameters uh, when we run this script, and what this does is we can uh, install it according to our convenience. So for example, if you go down here, you'll find a lot of options. Yeah, so a lot of use cases on how the script can be used for your deployment. So you have to pass the kubeconfig file. Obviously that is the that is the basic thing that you need to do, and after that you can set passwords for your databases if you want that. At the same time, you can set the persistence if you want to set it, and you can encrypt your passwords, and those passwords obviously get stored in Kubernetes secrets in base64 formats. But for the sake of convenience, what we are going to do is we're just going to pass this command, and this command, as you can see, this has as you can see, obviously we have passed the kubeconfig file, we have disabled the persistence volume, and the authentication for our database is, as you can see, is set to false. So what this does is this does not set up any authentication layer over your database, and we have done it for the sake of convenience only. And if you just pass the script, or if you just pass only the slash k tag dash k tag, what it does is it will create the persistence, and it will uh, it will encrypt your database. It will basically provide a layer of authentication to your databases, and we have not done that, so we can navigate and just run our script. Okay, just a minute. Right, so uh, we have created our cluster through as a super user, and kubeconfig file should be here only. Yeah, so we'll pass the kubeconfig file path here, and it is slash root slash dot cube slash config. Right, so this is now it is instantiated the creation of a database is actually the first thing that gets created, and we can always view our pods here. So as you can see, container creating, and I just want you to know one thing. So what happens sometimes is recently this script was under some development, and it was not working, and in that case, what you need to do is you can just go where these charts are basically located in the folder, and these are under deployment slash EMCO slash helm slash EMCO base folder, and if we go there, deployments, Helm, and so there are two folders now, EMCO base and EMCO CI. And EMCO CI basically has old charts that are not maintained and they are for legacy purposes. But if you go inside EMCO base folder, and you can see the readme file, basically they have provided uh, so instead of using a script to deploy all the services, you can separately deploy all the all the tools and services from this document itself. And again, you have the option to pass and basically authenticate your database if you want. And this is basically how to delete those packages and charts. And this you can use when the script itself is not working. And as you can see, most of our services are up and running, and it will take a few moments before it gets completed. So after this, once you have installed the services correctly, and it does not give you any error, then you can proceed to install the monitor. So now after good 5 minutes, the script has ran completely, and it has given us this. So as you can see, each and every service has been successfully deployed on the Kubernetes cluster. And now we just need to deploy a monitor, and we need to pass the config file. The monitor is also deployed and it's running. So we have successfully deployed EMCO over our Kubernetes cluster. And in the subsequent videos, we can also see the examples and the single cluster example and so on. But this basically gives you a demo on how we can deploy EMCO over a Kubernetes cluster. Thank you so much, and have a good day. Thank you.